Hello, how's it going? Drew here with a quick video for you guys. And in this one, I am going to be talking about how to create great content, even if you don't have any time and you're a busy business owner or entrepreneur, or you're just looking to get into content creation. How can you create the consistent content when you don't have a lot of time? So I'm going to be covering those things in this quick video here. So let's go ahead and dive into it, right? So the first thing that I recommend people do that before you do anything, this is very, very important, is, and this is going to save you time, not in a direct way, but that is to understand who is your audience, right? Who are you making this content for, right? You really need to understand your audience before you make this content. So it really behooves you as either a content creator, entrepreneur, or business owner. You really need to figure out who is your target audience, and you really need to get granular and figure out, what number one, what platform do they hang out at? That's like number one. And what type of content do they like? What type of style do they like? What type of creators do they follow, or influencers, et cetera, et cetera. So that is number one. That's going to save you a ton of headache, because you don't want to be making content, obviously, for the wrong audience, right? And thinking your audience is liking a certain type of content when they in fact don't. So, and that's just really my advice when it comes to marketing in general, for especially for business owners and entrepreneurs, is you really need to really do a lot of digging and do a lot of data, insofar as figuring out who is your ICP, who is your ideal customer. Figure out where do they like to hang out. Figure out what do they like to do for fun. You figure out everything about your ICP. Your ideal audience member, your ideal customer, whatever it is. You got to figure that out. And the most important thing is to figure out what is frustrating them. What is with your, once you figure out, okay, I know who my target audience is, and I know what they really like, what they really resonate with, and I also know what it is that they are frustrated with. What are the problems that they encounter? And those are the problems that you, as a business owner, entrepreneur, or content creator creating valuable content, can solve. So that is the first thing, is you really need to be laser focused on and who you're speaking to. And then the next part is, and then this is coming from experience, right? And this is why I harp on this point, is because when I started making content for my business, I was doing what they call spray and pray, whereas just putting out content, valuable content that I thought people would resonate with, other business owners, would resonate with, and so on and so forth. And several did, but it didn't. It wasn't until I started, you know, actually asking business owners at networking events and on LinkedIn and being like, hey, like what was the actual content that you want to see? What would add value to you guys and solve a problem for you? And how can I make that into a video? And so sometimes that's a great way to figure that out, is just to ask. The other thing is the misconception that making content is very time consuming, and it definitely can be. The main thing is just having a good strategy in place and sticking with it, right? So essentially, what you're looking for is to create quality over quantity, and then figuring out a system that works best for your schedule that you can stick to. I always like to use the analogy of working out. It's like you don't have to work out an hour at the gym every day if that isn't practical for you. Maybe it's working a couple days out of the week, or working out earlier, right? So it's very, very similar, right? So you have to figure out what works best for you. So the two methods that are very, very common are to either batch out your content, like I like to do, which is what I'm experimenting with right now, is batching my content on Sundays, because typically I don't work on Sunday. So I will take that time to plan out my content, and then I shoot it, and then I edit it, and then I will schedule it out for the rest of the week. So that is one method you could do. The other method is, and I recommend getting up extra early for this, is to create your video and make them short. Make them short and sweet, and do it every single morning. You shoot your video, you come up with all the the copy, all the captions, the thumbnail, all that stuff for your video, and then you post it that day. Later that day, you either schedule it for the afternoon or post it that morning, whatever works best for you. If you do it in the morning, I recommend that you schedule that to be posted in the afternoon. That's usually when the peak times are for most social media platforms. Of course, the other obvious thing that is going to save you a ton of time is just using the content you already have and repurpose it. Especially, and I cannot emphasize this enough, especially if you've been on a podcast. If you've been a guest on any podcast, most podcast hosts or whatever, or platforms, are more than happy to give you a copy of the episode that you've been on, and then you can take that episode and you can put it in something like Descript or Opus Clip, and you can have it have the AI tool chop up clips from that, and that then you can parcel out those clips as social content. And so I highly recommend doing that. If I cannot emphasize enough, use a podcast that you've been on. Podcasts are there for leverage, and so it's like very, very important that you not only take a copy of that full episode and put it on your YouTube, which I highly recommend, but you also need to chop that up into clips, and then post those out, on a weekly basis. Put a couple out of those. Maybe do a couple clips from a podcast every week, and just rinse, repeat, and mix that up with your fresh content, right? So something like that. So that way, it's like your audience is getting a fresh, like a variety of fresh content, but then they're also getting, the podcasts as well. And then also doing behind the scenes stuff is brilliant. Anytime you're with a customer, a client, whatever, definitely take advantage, get someone to film some sort of behind the scenes thing. That always really works really, really well, because the audience isn't expecting to be super polished or whatever. So you can totally take advantage of that. And then the other thing I really want to recommend for people is, in the beginning, when you're starting out, getting back in the groove of making content, I honestly just recommend sticking to YouTube. You can, if you spend most of your time on LinkedIn, or Facebook, that might make sense. But I really feel YouTube is where it's at, because YouTube is a literal search engine. Anytime you post content on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, your content has a shelf life. And then once that window is closed, then the views and engagement just drop. Whereas YouTube, since you're putting out content that's valuable and solving a problem, when people are searching that problem on Google or on YouTube, because again, YouTube is owned by Google, your content is going to show up, right? Because if you think about it, anytime, for me as a video editor, when I'm searching, when I'm stuck and I'm looking at how to solve a problem, and I go to Google, there's always YouTube videos on the very top of the results, right? So that's why I highly recommend to you to just start with YouTube. Even if it's just YouTube Shorts, just go stick with YouTube. And the beautiful thing is with your YouTube stuff, you can totally repurpose those videos, and later you can post those on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. But I highly recommend just start with YouTube because it has a lot of staying power and it really rewards you. YouTube really rewards you if you put really quality content out there. Another thing that's going to help you save time, and this is the last point I want to make, is to take advantage of AI tools to save you time when it comes to creating this content, right? So, for example, coming up with a content calendar based off of your personal schedule, that is another one thing that you can do. No, of course, you can always have AI help you outline out content ideas, for your videos. So that is always really, really helpful. And if you're looking for content ideas and you don't know what to talk about, right? There's a great prompt that I got from this creator off of Instagram. And let me go ahead and just share that with you right now. This is the creator here, Miss Colleen. And this right here, I'll have it in the description so you can read it. But this is the prompt. And it is act as an Instagram, a social media marketer expert, or it could be any platform, really. I want you to do some research for me. Tell me 10 frustrations, 10 desires, 10 fears, and add your target audience that they experience and add an area of focus and put that in a table format for me. And so what's really cool is it will actually do that. And ChatGDP, or I think I haven't tried this with Claude, but I'm sure it would work. But what's really cool is it will help you doing the market research and come up with these content ideas, and you'll have like more than enough ideas to go off of with this prompt. So this prompt is brilliant. I love it. But this isn't the only prompt out there. I mean, there's so many great prompts that you can use to help you come up with really cool content ideas and also do market research, which is really, really, really important. Cannot emphasize that enough. You really need to know your audience. You really need to know how to best serve your audience and all those wonderful people who you're here to help and add value to. So anyway, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you have any questions and anything like that, please feel free to shoot me a DM. And also, if you found this video useful, please subscribe down below. Hit the little notification bell to be notified on when my next video is out. And as always, stay classy.